the market is not that much willing to invest in VC, and at the same time does not allow VC managers to really develop. And you have to have in mind that our first VC funds were really very small, and there's a kind of a trauma in the market that we all had, and I went through that process. My very first fund was a very small fund, and we went through a hell running those funds because they were very small. Actually, the management fee wouldn't pay for the cost of managing the fund. And the fact is, whomever had some experience with VC decided to give up because it's very hard, really. And most of our LPs in this country look at VC and they assume that because it's VC, the funds will have to be small, and simply doesn't pay for a fund manager. And really, I mean, this is one aspect. And another aspect is also very important is most of our, and I don't want this to be read in the wrong way, I'm not criticizing the market, absolutely not. But the fact is, these recent players, they are finally popping out. These recent fund managers, most of them come from the banking industry. So they actually do not have the expertise, the profile to run VC funds, different type of people. I had the experience to raise a recent fund. We just started the end of last year, and it took us over 2 years, actually, over 2.5 years. And it's a very tough process just to raise a VC fund. And add up the fact that we were dealing with a totally different industry, new industry here in this country that was life sciences. So it's really a kind of a chicken and egg situation. There's not many proposals. The people that have experience in VC left VC, really trying to do private equity. There's a certain type of trauma for them, as I had in the past. So, but anyway, I think it's just a matter of time when the other players will start to realize that the market is getting more mature, that the LPs are willing to finally invest in bigger funds. I think the scenario will change. So we have quite a broad approach when we talk about life sciences. Traditionally, if you look at Brown & Company funds, our global funds, the funds that are dedicated in the US, for instance, they are basically focused on biotechnology and some in pharmaceutical industry, naturally some medical devices, and more recently in digital health. Here in this country, the approach has to be slightly different in the sense that we don't have that many opportunities, investment opportunities in biotech. We do have some interesting opportunities in biofuels, but human biotech, as we have in the US or in Europe, there's not that many opportunities. On the other hand, what we have also is huge opportunities in the area of healthcare services. So our approach in this country is slightly different in the sense that we are focused on definitely on the human biotech, drug development, new therapies. We are focused in biofuels, but we are definitely also focused on healthcare services. Now, what we see in terms of human biotech is a totally different scenario from what we were used to seeing in the US, in the sense that the stage that this industry is here in this country is definitely much early. What we don't have really much is applied research. So basic research, very rich basic research, lot of investment made by the government in this area, but really most of this research never gets to the market. So what Brazil don't have is, up to now, is really the capacity to help this new research, good quality research, to become a product or a service. So going through the whole process, this is really something that is missing in this country. This is one aspect. The second aspect is, besides the fact that the Brazilian government and directly or through some agencies like BNDES and FINEP and others, FAPES, have been helping to develop the infrastructure for these industries, the fact is that we are still very far from what certain developed countries offer, the infrastructure, labs, networks, systems. We have a huge lack of that. So we had actually to develop a different approach also to invest in that type of project. Typically, one of our funds in the US will invest in basic research. Here in Brazil, we will invest in basic research, but we had to develop a different strategy to approach that type of investment. And it's not only a matter of investing; it's a matter also of building a portfolio. It's key to the success of a fund like this one, to have a very good portfolio strategy. So we are dealing with really different universes. Another aspect that is very important is management. US, for instance, or even in Europe, but mainly in the US, what you see is there's a lot of people, compared to Brazil really, that went through the process of heading a company, a startup, helping the company to grow and do an IPO or sell it or whatever, to structure an exit, with a lot of experience of going through the whole process. And what is very interesting, specifically in this area, we don't have this here in Brazil. So if you need a good manager, a good CEO for a company like this, you simply don't find it, or you have to bring it from somewhere or train it here. So, and now it's not only a matter of the CEO or CFO that has the experience to deal with this industry. Some do have experience dealing with startups, but this industry, it's a different animal. So management is also an issue. Another issue that we have is in the US, or in Europe again, for that matter, researchers have cases for them to look up to. Researchers are familiar with the concept of venture capital, of venture investing, of going through the process of selling the companies, doing IPOs. So these researchers in this country, they are simply not familiar to the process. The other issue that we have is Brazilian universities are not used to deal with IP. So this is a long process also. Most of the Brazilian universities don't even have, which is natural at this point, I believe, a rule, a strategy, a policy, an approach, how to deal with IP. There's really a lot of things happening in this country in terms of research, really brilliant research. And what one can see as a problem, and it is a problem, because of the stage, we see it also as an opportunity. Really help to build up an industry in this country. So this is really a huge challenge, and we are very excited with this challenge. And also, if you look at the other areas like healthcare services, this is a country that is growing very fast, and the demand of quality services is really growing every year. In rates, they are well over the GDP growth. So this is really creating a huge opportunity to introduce new services in this country. And naturally, on biofuels, there's a lot of innovation, as you know, happening in this country. And really, it's not an easy country. There's a lot of still bureaucracy that we have to deal with. But once you get in, I mean, you actually can have a group of LPs supporting your activity and betting that everybody will make money and will have a structural impact in the country.